Happy to be joined by Coach McDermott here at Big East Media Day. And Coach, first of all, when you look around this league, I know you were asked about expectations at your first day of practice. You deferred to, I want to see how our team does in Big East play. What is it about the rigors of this conference season that you feel prepares your team better than anything for March?
Well, you just see everything. There's so many different styles of play, and now this year, we have some new coaches in the league that you have to prepare for that style too, which is going to be unique in its own way. But the coaching, the fan bases, the venues you have to play in across the league, it really prepares you for about everything you're going to encounter in NCAA tournament play. So if you can get through the Big East and still be standing, you really have an opportunity to move forward in March.
And I know you're not one that really takes too much credence in polls and preseason rankings and all of that, but when you have a coach's poll that puts you as number 2 in the Big East, only behind Marquette, I mean, do you take any stock in that? Is there any type of satisfaction that comes from such a high ranking for you guys?
I mean, it's a feather in the cap of the guys that returned. I think it speaks to their ability and their potential. I've never been a huge believer in preseason polls, and they're probably about as useless now as they've ever been because of the transfer portal and immediate eligibility. It's really hard to predict rosters and how new people and new pieces are going to fit. But having said all that, we expect to be good ourselves, and we've put a lot of time in, a lot of work in to put ourselves in a position to have a chance to be successful. So we're certainly not going to run from those expectations, but we also know it's a huge hill to climb.
This is also, we're going into the 11th year for Creighton in the Big East as well. I mean, you've obviously been here the entire time. Is this the most anticipated Big East season that you've been a part of overall?
Yeah, I mean, there certainly have been some years that were, everybody was excited about. The first year speaks for itself because of just the newness and being part of that for the first time. But, I think anytime you have one of your teams coming off a national championship, and the 2 years Nova won, and certainly this year with UConn coming off a national championship, and then combine that with some teams that really return a lot of firepower, it makes for an exciting preseason talk. And you combine that with Coach Cooley moving from, Providence to Georgetown, Coach Pitino coming into St. John's. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in the Big East, and I think people have a right to be excited because I think it's going to be a heck of a year.
We talked to several national reporters yesterday who had a ton of respect for the transfer you brought in Stephen Ashworth. Is there the expectation that both he and Trey are going to be on the ball sharing quite a bit, maybe not as one player dominant as maybe you have had before?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. And it's really happened organically, which is what I've been pleased with. I haven't really had to stick my nose in there. I just kind of let those guys handle it, on the fly, and they've done a really good job of sharing that responsibility. And I think as a result, they play off each other extremely well. So, I couldn't be more pleased with what Stephen has brought to the table, how well he's fit in. It's really been a seamless transition, and Trey deserves some of that credit too, because Trey's made it easy for him to fit in. And while Stephen's creating some opportunities for Trey, Trey's done a great job of creating opportunities for his teammates with his ability to see the floor. And I think one of the areas he's probably made the biggest jump in is his ability to make plays for others. So I'm looking forward to seeing that all on display when we get started here in a few weeks.
And also, when you look at Ryan, at Trey getting that first team recognition for the Big East, again, I know not big on all the preseason accolades, but individually for them to get that recognition is some of the best players that are in this conference. Is that satisfying for you to see for them?
Yeah, Rob Anderson tells me it's the first time in my tenure that we've had 2 guys on the first team, maybe going back to 2006 or 5, something like that. So to have 2 guys, it really speaks to the quality of Trey and Kalk. But then also, Baylor Shireman has had a great career as well, and he's on the second team, and probably could be on the first team as well, and nobody would argue it. So, we have 3 really good players that played important roles for our team last year for different reasons and through different processes. They all decided to come back, and, as a coach, because of how I feel about those guys, you really want this to be a successful season because they've made some sacrifices to stay at Creighton, and we hope that, part of that sacrifice ends up being a heck of a year for each one of them.
I realized when I talked to you at Creighton Media Day, I said it as a statement, you're coming off your most successful year yet. Does it feel like it was your most successful season?
I don't know. I mean, I think as coaches we get over what's happened yesterday pretty fast, because there's always another recruiting call to make, or getting the guy in to watch film if it's during the season. So you really get past what happened yesterday in a relatively quick amount of time. So while I enjoyed it and I'm glad we were able to celebrate it a little bit, we got a lot of work to do, and every season is a new challenge. Regardless of how many guys you have coming back, there's always challenges that you have to try to figure out as a coaching staff, and that's the process we're in right now. And we're getting close to where we're going to play some games and find out exactly where we are and where we have to improve before Big East play starts.
And then lastly, just getting to see all the coaches last night, getting to kind of mingle with everybody. I mean, what was that like for you to just kind of get to see that fraternity once again?
Yeah, I'll see most of them this morning. The night before I always spend with the players. We find a good steakhouse and we hang out and spend some time together away from the basketball floor. And it's an opportunity for me to spend some time with our team leadership and ask them some questions about some of the things we're doing that maybe we could do better from a player's perspective. But I'll see the knucklehead Ed Cooley here this morning sometime. I usually hear him before I see him. But there's a really good group of guys that are coaching in this league, and the fraternity has been great. We really support one another, and I think that's important in a league like the Big East.
Does purple look good on Ed?
I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.